Is it going? I think it should be.
6, 5,
Quiet
4,
on the set.
3, 2,
We're live.
1.
Here we are.
Okay.
Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us for the Q&A session today. Maybe I'd show you a little bit about our current situation here. We're at my dad's place in southern Florida.
Can everyone hear okay? Is everything working? Audio and video? Yes?
Looking good.
Yep.
This is Dad here. Say hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad.
This is the view we have. It's really nice. This is the condo in the sky. Donna's over there. Say hello, Donna.
Hi there.
Hi.
They say they can hear good.
Okay, good. All right, so now that that's done, kind of what we're going to do today is we're just going to take this time to answer your questions about pretty much whatever. I think I'm going to kick it off by reading a question from one of the guys that it was not able to join us today. We're going to answer that, and then we're just going to go from there. Try and make it about an hour or something, and see how many questions we can answer. All right, so the first question, and I'm probably going to murder this name, is Yannicke D. Who's?
Yannicke might be pretty
We'll
good.
just go with Yannicke. Yannicke's question is, I'm curious about your guys' goals. Here on Patreon you wrote, Delos 2.0 will go bigger and better than ever imagined. We intend to start an expeditionary project aimed at exploration, conservation, and good old-fashioned healthy living and adventure. I'm super curious what the Delos 2.0 project means. Are there any concrete plans already? And he says, I'm also curious about what you mean with clean and healthy living. Are you guys quitting eating meat and fish? Well, yeah, Delos 2.0 is something we have been thinking about quite a bit. It's probably would be considered the evolution of what we're doing right now. And to us, that means we're going to need a bigger and better boat. And what we're kind of targeting there is like a 60 to 70 foot aluminum hulled expeditionary style, like cruising mega craft or something.
Beast. Like a Maggie, but for liveaboard version.
Yeah, kind of. So we want to do something like, we've learned quite a bit about sailing. I've had Delos for 10 years now. I've sailed her about, 62,000 miles altogether. And she's an amazing boat, but I think we're ready to take things to the next level. And we really have three options. Of course, we could work with the guys at Amel to produce sort of a boat that would be the evolution of Delos. We could also find an older style boat that has the hull that would work for us, and then kind of refit, restore that. Or the third option, which is kind of my favorite at the moment, is finding a designer or a naval architect, a cool yard that specializes in aluminum construction, and then sort of building it from the ground up and taking all the things that we've learned and incorporating it into one thing. And then being able to have more people on board, being able to do more high latitude sailing, having a lifting keel so we could get into some tighter spots and just make it like a real rugged and tough sailboat. Monohull, definitely. What are your thoughts, brother?
I think you covered it. I think the cool thing about doing it ourselves is we get to film the whole process.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's part of the Delos 2.0 project, is us going from not knowing anything about building boats to taking it step by step and filming it and putting it out for you guys. And that in itself just seems so much more fun than us just, I don't know, somehow getting a new boat that's shiny and
getting the tribe involved. And,
getting you guys involved, especially. Yeah, we don't know how or what, but it's all going to work out really well. And we're already putting things out to the universe. So the vision board is out there, and we talk about it almost every day. And the other day I had like a weird dream about the layout, so I drew it on a piece of paper. We're always doing different things and talking to people. So.
Yeah.
The paper's probably in the trash by now.
So if anybody has any ideas, thoughts, knows of a cool hole lying around or a design, or we're also looking into different. It can be a test bed for us to try new things. So I'm doing research on hybrid and electrical propulsion systems where we can actually use electric motors powered by lithium-ion batteries and a generator for a hybrid system. So
cool.
there's a lot of cool things that we can do if we start thinking about it now. And as far as the healthy living, we just like to have fun. We lead a pretty low stress life, and I think being out there adventurizing around is pretty healthy. I don't have any plans to stop eating meat, although we really have cut down on our fishing on board, just because of how we feel about the environment and the state of what we've seen and the catches that we've witnessed sailing around the world. So we have cut down. I think Alex has made a conscious view to not eat fish.
And Brady has now too.
Really.
Kind of, yeah.
You haven't eaten fish in a while.
I still eat shrimp every once in a while, but as far as fish, I don't eat much fish anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, hope that answers that question. But let's start taking some
Yep.
that are coming in.
Yeah, there was a good one that just was up here that says, "Are you looking forward to fixing the ML that's waiting for Liz?"
Yeah,
What about you, Brian?
I think Liz she's in pretty good hands.
Yeah,
Edward's a
you're
pretty
really
handy
handy
guy. Edward's a French sailor. The French know their boats. It's a French boat. I think they're going to be just fine. I look forward to meeting up with them, though.
Is Delos 2.0 going to have built-in cameras like Big Brother?
Oh, I don't know about that. We might do, like we've been thinking about ways to do more live streaming, and there's some cool new technology that would make that more possible. I don't know that we'd want to live stream like everything, but maybe some ambient streams of where we are and the conditions we're seeing and us sailing could be quite cool.
That could be really cool.
Yeah.
If anybody's just joining a little bit late, we've kind of just started and talked a little bit about Delos 2.0, and we'll definitely post this afterwards, right? So we'll post it on YouTube, and you can go back and watch if you want. But we're kind of going through some questions that people already submitted on the Patreon site. And if you guys have any questions, just type them in, and we'll answer them. What is this one? If you were going to read that one out, bro.
This is from Curtis. It says, if you were outfitting a boat today, would you still drop 4K or go on a SSB modem set up for communications, weather, or go with some other technology? Yeah, that's a good question. The SSB gear and modem is quite expensive. When you look at the radios and the installation of the tuner and then the Pactor modem, I mean, once you get the gear and the equipment, it works great and it's free and you can use it all around the world like we have. But if you think an Iridium Go costs what, $800 or $1,000 or something?
Yeah.
And by the time that you end up paying for data and a service like Predict Wind or something, I think you can have that service for a long time and be able to have a little bit faster connectivity before you'll add up to the cost of the SSB. I mean, if you have a boat that has one, that's certainly very cool, but I wouldn't say that it would be mandatory. I don't know if I would install it on a new boat. I don't know if it makes sense like that.
Look at this message here from Arthur.
Arthur, I want to know who was the best Brazilian ever, and if you've ever done FaceTime while sailing.
Arturo, how are you, bro? This is better than FaceTime. You get us right now.
All right, so let's see. I got a question here. This is from the guys on Follow the Boat Sailing, Liz and Jamie. And she says they are planning an easterly voyage across the North Pacific to Alaska and are looking at ways of ramping up their power. They're doubling up on solar. They might look at wind. They're still not sure about that. One suggestion has been to use some kind of a towed water generator, and I think I remember that you used one. That's correct. We did have one. The only other cruisers we know with first-hand experience of towing a generator were not impressed with its performance. What is your opinion? Should we bother? Well, we do have one. It's been on the boat since the beginning, and it works fine. I mean, it does slow you down a bit, and it does make a little bit of noise, and you get some vibrations off the back. But the one we have made 100 watts, so for us at 24 volts, that gave us, about 4 amps all the time?
5, yeah.
So it is cool. It is free power. It just sort of goes and cranks along there. I think that given the money you might spend and with the mounting and all the, you have to put it out and take it in every time, it interfered with our fishing when we did have it out. But I would think if you're going to spend that money, I would probably invest it in making sure that you have enough solar and a good wind setup The batteries I found are super important. So we just upgraded our batteries to lithium on Delos, and this is something that I didn't really realize, but just by switching to lithium, it was almost like adding another solar panel for us. And I was trying to understand why we were making more power than we were using and still have to run the generator sometimes. But it actually turns out that we were losing like somewhere between 20 and 40% of our power just by charging lead acid batteries. So when we switched to the lithium, the charging efficiency is like 99% instead of 60%. And so that in itself is like a 40% improvement in efficiency, and it just cranks the power into those guys. So I think the tow generator is cool, but I would rather put money in solar first, and then good batteries, and then probably wind after that. You guys
We've
agree?
only used
Yeah.
the towing generator like once, and that was because we were really low on
Yeah,
every
and
power
everything
and
else broke.
everything broke. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
so it was good
I
then.
feel,
but
the
yeah.
same. I think the efficiency isn't as good as what you could get with solar. Like you said. Do you want to read that one out, Blue? This guy.
So James Noel just said, how do you guys manage video workflows, and how many cameras are on the boat? How many get used regularly? I think this is a really common question that we get from people because we're dealing with massive amounts of footage. So we have something called the SAN on board, which is, you can explain it better, Brad.
It's actually like a network attached storage. It's just a big Western Digital drive. It's an EX2100, I think, and it has 4 6 terabyte RAID drives in it, and they're in a RAID 5 configuration, and that's on a Wi-Fi network. So every day we take all the cameras, and not every day. If we're good, we do it every day. Sometimes we slack
If
a
we're
little bit.
filming a lot.
But we just take all the footage, and whose ever job to do it that day is, they grab it all and they copy it to the network attached storage, and then we all have access to that over the Wi-Fi network. And
But
so
how
that's
many cameras do we have?
Oh.
We have a lot, right? I mean, Alex,
Yeah.
you have
we have
3,
I have-
4.
I have
we
a
have-
few Canons and an Osmo, and we have I don't know how many GoPros we have now. 4 or 5, which we use a lot for time lapses and kind of quick stuff, or if we don't want to carry around a big camera, we take them diving, and they do, especially the new GoPro Hero 6s, do really well. We're
Yeah.
really happy with those. And we have several drones. We just got another new drone
to replace the one I crashed in the ocean
one.
on the way to Brazil.
And then one GH4 that doesn't really get used anymore because it got replaced with the GH5 and GH5S. And then we have our 4K camera that is kind of
Slowly getting-
the
Yeah.
base of what built Delos, and we shoot with the night vision and stuff on it, but we don't really use it anymore except for when we're on passage at night, I think.
I think my favorites now is the GH5s. They're so cool.
Yeah.
Such cool
Yeah,
cameras.
that's good.
Good
And the GoPros
stabilization.
now are really nice.
Yeah, and the
as
GoPros
well.
are really nice.
And our workflow, like how we edit our videos, is we kind of just organize everything by where we are and kind of the filming missions that we go on, and then look at the folders and see what we think could go in each episode without really digging too much into the footage, and then kind of assign those to different people. And then we switch, like me and Brady will work on an episode and get it like 75% done, and then give it back to each other so you can get fresh eyes on it, because after you're looking at the same footage for 30 hours straight, it gets a little difficult.
How long
sometimes.
do you think it takes you to do a video?
I think like 40 to 60 hours per video,
Yeah.
something like
Yeah, I
that
got
would be
the
Of
average.
same.
solid working
Of
hours.
solid, working hours.
Yeah.
I think that's a
I
common
think 40
question.
would be short for me. I'm more
Yeah.
like, maybe I work slow, but at least 60.
Usually, it's
Probably.
usually about an hour to an hour and a half per minute of video,
Yeah.
something like
Yeah,
that.
that's probably a good way to.
Because if it's a 20-minute video, it's less. But
Yeah,
our
that
videos are
makes
getting
sense.
longer and longer, which is like,
Yeah.
But what is cool that everybody edits, everybody films and chips in, which I think is a really cool kind
Yeah.
of, because we help each other a lot, inspire each other a lot, and when somebody finds a new way to do something, you share it, and it's a cool way to do it. I think it works for us.
Yeah, and there is a question from Justin that talked a bit about footage. We keep everything we shoot. So every video that we shoot, we don't necessarily look through it right then, but we do keep everything. We don't delete anything right away. And then even after we're done editing, all the footage is backed up and kept as well. So if we ever need to go back to those projects and work on them again or change something or re-export, we can do that and we send backup drives. But there's some here.
Yep.
There's some in Sweden. So
every once in a while, I'll take a backup of the footage we have and put it on like 4 terabyte just USB drives, and then whenever somebody leaves the boat, I'll just send them home, or if nobody's leaving, then I'll mail them to Karen's mom house for like safekeeping. And we have a lot of footage because, with the exception of a few things, like when we do an intro or something like that, we don't script it. So we're just filming, random days, and sometimes you do a good job of filming, sometimes you do a terrible job, and sometimes it takes a little bit more effort and time to make the story make sense. But I think that's the other side of it.
Yeah, someone just said, do you ever resent editing the videos or something like that? And I definitely not. It's super cool to be able to relive everything, but it is, I mean, it's like our full-time job, so of course everyone has moments, I think, where they get a little
stressed out.
You just don't want to look at the footage anymore sometimes. You don't want to edit. And
I think that's where it's nice to have each other, because when I do feel like I've hit a wall on something, I can show it to Brady or Kaza or Alex, and then they'll like help me, which is really awesome.
Fresh eyes.
I wouldn't want to try and do this project all by myself. It would be that would be really difficult.
And I think too, like last night we had a meetup here in Hollywood, and we met so many cool people that, like, it's so different to meet people in person and have them explain kind of what the videos mean to them, and instead of just reading comments online. And I know for me that was a big like refill on my inspiration to just keep pushing every video like further and keep improving. Because that's pretty special to hear that from people in person.
Yeah, it was a very awesome night.
So cool, yeah.
There's a lot of very nice people.
All right, I'm going to go for another question here. This is from Fred Wishny. What do you all do for sun protection? You appear to be very casual, but must be doing something to keep from frying. I think probably the best thing we did was Karen sewed up a little holder for sunscreen. So it's about a liter-sized jug with a pump on the top, and it's mounted in a bag right outside the companionway.
This is actually very funny because I had 3 people ask me yesterday, what do we do for sunscreen? They have never seen in the videos that we ever put on sunscreen.
It's because nobody can pick up the camera with sunscreen on their
Yeah, or it never makes like the cut in the video because it's not, I don't know. Yeah. So, but we do put on a lot of sunscreen, and like Brian said, like that kind of jug out in the cockpit that you just put on like every morning. That's just what we do.
And we have Explorer shirts, so I like to wear like my, I don't know, I had this Columbia one for a long time that I used, and now I've got one from South Africa, from Cape Union Mart, that, just covers like high, and you can button up and covers your arms when it's real hot. And then we always have the bimini up on Delos, so the protection from the shade is super important. And if you're spending time in the cockpit, we have shade, and
lots of hats too.
Lots of
hats are very, very key.
Okay, let's go with Greg Guthman. Question: is the Arctic and heading up the coast of the States still in the plan? I'm in Annapolis and would be thrilled to help with the party.
Well, cool.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, the Arctic is definitely still on the plan, and it's coming really, really soon. We fly into Svalbard on the 15th of June, and we start sailing around there like a day or two after. We have to help get the boat ready, and we fly out on the 5th of July, something like that. So we have a good 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks up there.
Yeah.
And we've just got all of our warm weather gear, and we're gearing up on what cameras we should bring and how to pack, because it's going to be 8 of us on a boat smaller than Delos.
It's a Swan 48,
Swan
which
48.
is a good-sized boat.
Yeah. It's a beautiful boat for what we're doing. And, I don't really know if we know what we're getting ourselves into. It's going to be cold. There's going to be no sunset, so it's going to be light the whole time. But we're really, really excited for it. I know that.
Yeah.
Super excited, a little bit, definitely a bit scared.
It'll be a learning experience, because if we plan on doing, with Delos, if we plan on doing or being capable of doing more high latitude sailing, then we figured it'd probably be a pretty good idea to try some of it out and see
On somebody else's
Yeah.
on
boat.
somebody else's boat and learn from them too, because it's something that we've never done before, and we have a lot of tropical sailing experience. But I think sailing in this cold, high latitudes is like a whole nother ballgame. So we're looking forward to learning about that. And then, as far as the rest of the plans, Delos is in Grenada now, and she's going to be there for the hurricane season. We're going to go back and put her back in the water after we do some work to the bottom. And then we're going to spend a season sailing through the Caribbean. We don't really know where we're going to go, but I don't know, my gut sort of tells me that we'll head north and then west and maybe, explore some cool places. I think there's some hidden gems even in the Caribbean that we've been told
For
about that we're
sure.
looking forward to.
Yeah.
Hitting Haiti, we can go to Cuba. I mean, there's all sorts of cool things to do, and then maybe end up in Florida for about a year from now, and then that's as far as our maybe plans go.
Yeah,
Does that sound good to you
that
guys?
sounds pretty much. I
We
it's
actually
pretty-
haven't talked about this.
Yeah. But we're not gonna stay down there. I don't think for next hurricane season. I mean, you don't know, but I think that's the main thing is we'll move like in a northerly direction and maybe west, and who knows how far we'll go.
Yeah.
We never know. We always go weird ways, so probably go
We
back
do.
and forth the Gulf a few times. Go to Mexico.
Yeah, I think the difference in this season is we're used to doing such long passages. We're always like last season, it was the minimum passage was like 1,000 miles or something, right?
Yeah.
And so we had a lot of long sails. And then this year, like you can literally hop from island to island, 20 miles, 40 miles. I mean, if we want to do a long sail, I think we can do it, but we're gonna have to bypass a bunch of islands and maybe come back.
It's difficult. You have to find it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see here.
Let's see, how about I read this one from Jesse? He says, does the exhaust hole next to the cockpit ever make you mad when you're taking wind from the port side? We had variable winds, and when we were motor sailing and got blasted, I couldn't believe Amel put the exhaust so close to the cockpit. More incentive to sail, I guess. Cheers to you guys. So yeah, mostly when there's a slight wind from the stern, I've noticed that. If it's a light breeze and not quite enough to sail, like under 5 or 6 knots, and you're going 5 knots motoring, the air just sort of like sits there, and then it comes up into the cockpit and you smell it. So that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I think if I were to change something, you could easily put the exhaust out of the back of the boat, and then it wouldn't leave the black streaks on the side as well.
Yeah. Small
Cool things
learning
to
things.
See, do you want to do another one from this
Sure.
list here?
Robert Legerton, what advice would you guys give to someone who is interested in sailing for a living, and what size boat would you recommend for a solo person trying to follow in your footsteps? Whoa, I mean, the type of boat you can have, it's like, we've met people do it on a 21 foot. I've had a friend do it on a 24 foot, a 28 foot. I think
Yeah.
most cruising boats you'll see are, that for single-handers, what would you guess, somewhere in the 30-foot range?
Yeah, 28, 32, somewhere in there. I wouldn't go too much bigger because there's just no need.
Yeah, I mean, it's plenty of space.
Yeah.
Man, it's like, what kind of car do you need? There's no right or wrong answer to that question. It's totally up to you. But, I mean, there are some like our friend Alex, he had a Fast Passage 39.
Mhm.
And those are good, solid boats. They're not expensive. It's like an older sort of design, but they're sturdy, and you can sail that boat around the world, no problem. Has enough room to have guests and friends over if you want, but can certainly be single-handed. I think when you start getting up into the 40-foot range, you can single-hand a boat. Like technically you could single-head Delos at 53 feet, but it's like if something goes wrong, let's say that the sail, you lose a halyard or something gets stuck, trying to do things like that and handling the downwind sails become more difficult when you're only one person.
Yeah, I think like the older boats, the boats built in the 80s and 90s that are that size, the fiberglass is like always super thick on those boats. So
Yeah,
they're
true.
really, really strong, where some of the newer stuff, when they figured out the strength of fiberglass, it's cut down a lot. So I would say don't disregard an older boat right away just because it's old. I think the rigging and mast and hull, if it's in good condition, then it's going to be a good boat no matter what.
I agree.
Let's do Adam Alexander here. I noticed that Kiril is still helping you edit some videos. How is he getting access to your footage and editing videos from where in the world he is? And answer that guy's
Yeah. So we actually send hard drives to Kiril. So he's in Vietnam and has been for the last
years.
2 years. So we just kind of put the footage on a hard drive and mail it to him, and he gets it, which is amazing. And I mean, now he's gonna come and sail with us in Svalbard, so we'll be able to see him for the first time since he left the boat. Really, right?
Yeah.
Which is crazy. It's
Oh,
really
no, we
exciting.
saw him in La Rochelle.
Yeah.
Oh shit, we
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, for the
Yeah,
France trip.
we did. I forgot that one, but yeah, it's gonna be really cool to see him again.
Yeah. How will you choose your next crew auditions? From Steve Lecca. That's a great last
Oh.
name, by the way.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What have we done in the past? We've done
the cool thing I'd say is because we are closer to the States now that we can have more and more patrons come out, which is awesome. We're really excited. I mean, every time we have a patron couple come out or a patron come out, we have the best time and we all have, I don't know, the same mindset. And it's awesome to have you guys come out and sail with us. So now that we're kind of closer to the States, it's easier for us to have people come for shorter amounts of time like that.
like a week instead of a month
Yeah.
minimum, because there are airports on most of these islands.
So in the previous seasons, people that would come out to crew would have to be out for months and months at a time because there's no other option. Like crossing the South Atlantic, there's no option really to hop off at most of these places. So I don't know what crew will come with us. It always seems to fall in place at the right time for this next season, but I think we're going to meet some really cool people along the way and have some crew.
And if you guys have any ideas for other cool crew competitions we could do, then let us know. I'd love to hear.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, here's a good one from Rob Milligan. Kaza, have you ever noticed that Brian looks a little like a capybara?
Maybe that's why she likes me.
You eat your own droppings.
I have not noticed this, but I'll look closer.
Here's another one. It sounds like you're getting a new monohull. Is there a reason that you wouldn't consider a cat?
I think we did consider a cat.
Definitely,
I
yeah.
mean, starting when we were in Madagascar and we were talking to our friends on Morning Glory and our other friend on
The
what
wild
was
one.
the wild one, Martin,
Oh, yeah.
the Martinator. I mean, we sailed on those boats. We've sailed on probably 3 or 4 other catamarans of different sizes, and wow, it's another one of those questions where there is no right or wrong answer. I think for us and the type of sailing that we want to continue to do, which is basically sail anywhere in any sort of conditions, I do think a monohull is a little bit better suited.
More forgiving, at least.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool things to think about, but with the monohull you can easily heave to. You can carry a huge amount of load via the displacement hull without affecting performance. You can get the shallow draft option via a swing or a lifting keel, so the draft really doesn't restrict you that much. You can actually get a bigger boat for the same amount of money or investment you would do, the same amount of materials.
Yeah.
And I just really like the way monohulls sail. I mean, they sail so beautifully, and just the rhythm that you feel in the sea and the ocean is important to me. And I like feeling the boat move with the swell and turn up and down. It just feels like you're sailing and connected to the ocean. And for some reason I don't get personally that same feeling when I'm sailing a catamaran.
I'd say that's the main thing, right? Is the feel of it. Is catamarans don't feel the same, and maybe it's something you get used to and you love eventually.
Maybe.
But they definitely feel different.
Do you want to talk? Some people are asking about the induction.
Oh yeah,
The new
talk
induction
about our
stove.
new lithium project. Bro.
Yeah, so before we left Grenada, one of the last projects that we did was we removed propane from the boat. So it was kind of a cool concept that I really wasn't aware of, but then this guy Justin from a company in the UK called Transporter Energy gave me a shout and said, "Hey, Ryan, we have this new system that we'd like you to try out on the boat and tell us if you think it would work." And so it's basically, we replaced the lead acid batteries with lithium batteries. We reconfigured the charge controllers to work with the voltages for lithium. We upgraded our inverter from a 1,000 watt to a 3,000 watt Victron inverter. And then we pulled out the gas stove and oven and replaced it with an induction cooktop. And we got to use it for about 2 weeks before we left.
It's going to take some time to get used to, a little bit different kind of ways of cooking, but I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I was able to cook a curry meal for like 15 people.
Yeah.
We had a random curry party before we left, and I could use two pots at the same time. You do have to have special pots for it, but I think the technology is really cool. We also decided to replace the barbecue, so they gave us an electric version of the barbecue, which we actually have only cooked bacon on yet. But
It worked really well.
it seemed
though.
to work pretty well.
Yeah.
But so far, I think it's totally viable. Of course, you have to think about how are you going to put that power back into the batteries, because now instead of using energy from propane, we're just using energy from out of the lithium cells. But with the amount of solar we have and wind we have, I think it's going to be pretty good. And because the batteries actually charge more efficiently, it's my bet that our generator time is probably actually going to go down. That's what the guess is. But stay tuned on that one, because we're going to be
Yeah.
like really putting it to the test when we get back next season.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun stuff.
All right, should we do another one?
Mhm.
How about this one for you, Kaza? This is from Larry. He says, how does the crew coordinate regular medical needs like checkups, prescriptions, medicines, vision, and dental? Do you generally try and coordinate them with visits home? I know you guys share a lot of your visits to clinics in your episodes, so I certainly appreciate that. And no, I'm not talking about Mr. Brady playing doctor on board. Ha ha ha.
Great doctor. Larry.
Sketchy.
Larry.
Something else. Anyways.
Oh, you meant the dirty way. Perverted doctor.
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Senior Brady.
So it's a few different things. I mean, we don't do regular checkups. I would say that I maybe do more when I fly home to Sweden. I do my regular checkups and stuff.
Or like
but
in Cape Town.
yeah, Cape Town had very good, you have those countries that have actually really good kind of dental and a lot of good clinics and stuff, and it's very affordable. So I had a dental, like, emergency root canal done in Namibia.
Oh yeah.
Very good, like, perfect everything. And then when we arrived to Brazil, I needed to do the actual root canal, which was a little bit tricky because they didn't speak any English, so it was hard. But we had a lovely Delos tribe member helping us, translating and stuff. So you do get by, and I mean, if you do need to get something, if you have a little bit of money, I would say in most countries you can get very good good care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
sure.
the cost is super reasonable. Like in Cape Town, we got all our prescriptions filled by going to
Yeah.
a doctor. We went and we got our dermatology checkups done. We got teeth cleaning.
Vaccinations, all.
How much was the dermatology? It was like $50 or $60.
Like
It was
crazy.
like
And that was like
super,
one of the
super
best
reasonable.
ones in Cape Town.
Yeah.
And I think also like our medical kit, we whenever we use something we replenish it, and I think we're pretty healthy though, I would say.
I mean,
Yeah.
we've never had problems
Yeah.
getting care
No.
wherever we've been. Like I almost cut my finger off in New Zealand, and they fixed it. They sewed the tip back on, and they did it for free. Brady got bit by the barracuda in Australia. They sewed him up
Free,
free.
no charge.
What about your LASIK?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did a lot of things in South Africa. I got my teeth. I had all like metal fillings from when I was younger. All of those removed and fit with like porcelain fittings to get rid of the mercury in my mouth. And that was like, I don't know, a quarter of the price or something. It cost me like $1,000, where it would have been at least $2,000 per tooth here in the States.
It's crazy.
And it was great. They did an awesome job. I got LASIK eye surgery there. One eye. Brian calls it my African eye surgery, but it's not that. It was just a random mix-up that happened.
That's a story for another day.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's one from Martin. He says, could you give us a picture of the sort of budget you have for maintenance on Delos, like engine, genset, sails, rigging? Seems like Brian fixes most of the maintenance, but keeping Delos afloat in mint condition must still take a big maintenance budget. Yeah, And the older that Delos gets, of course, the more maintenance we're seeing because everything just has a lifespan, especially in the saltwater. Kind of the thing that we like to think about is like a 3% of boat value rule. So if you, let's say that you have $100,000 boat, value's $100,000. It's a pretty good bet that you're going to spend on average about $3,000 per year. And of that, you can pretty much bet that half of that, or 1.5%, is going to be used for like common reoccurring things. Like this pump wore out, I have to replace the seal, I need to put injectors in the engine, fans break, filters, all that sort of stuff that's just kind of ongoing maintenance. The other 1.5% of those big jobs that you're going to do like every, 2 years or 3 years, or sometimes you have to put on new sails, right? Like we have been getting about 30,000 miles out of our sails, which is pretty good. But then after that, they're stretch, and that's a pretty big expense. You might need to get a new dinghy outboard. That doesn't happen all the time, every few years. What else? Painting the bottom, haul outs. Yeah. These are the big ones. So, I mean, of course, the newer the boat, the lower some of these items are going to be. The older the boat, it's going to be more expensive up into a point.
If you're doing the work yourself, like
we save
things, if someone doesn't know how to do it, you
save a ton of cash doing it yourself. Even like when I started working on boats, I didn't know anything about boats, and I made a lot of silly mistakes that actually ended up costing me quite a bit of money in the beginning. But
you learn, though.
You learn. I think the most. This, I don't even know I should say this, but probably the most embarrassing thing I did is like I had Delos about a month, and I wanted to mount like this in the nav station, where the sand is right now. I wanted to mount a bunch of plugs, and so I put a screw into the wall, and I screwed it in too much, and it went right out the side of the boat.
You're like, oh shit! Just put a hole in the
I
side.
put a hole right in the side of the boat, and then of course, like how embarrassing! I had to call the fiberglass repair guy because I didn't know anything about this. And he's like, "Oh, I see you put a hole in your new boat there, huh?" I was like, "Yeah, sure."
But now you can do it and then repair it, so it's good.
Yeah,
and
generally don't try and put holes in the boat. Yeah. All right, what do we got next?
What is this? Carly Overton. You guys have been on the water a long time now with all the environmental concerns. Have you guys noticed any specific changes in the ocean personally since you've been sailing? I would say we definitely have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like when we first set out across the Pacific and fishing specifically, and diving too, we were catching good big fish anytime we needed fish. Whenever we were hungry on any passage, we could throw a lure out and pretty much guaranteed we would have a fish within a certain amount of days or something like that. The Indian Ocean is when we really start to see it, right? Well, I guess Asia, there was really no fish.
Yeah, I mean, in Asia, everybody quit fishing.
We didn't fish for 2 years or something in Asia. We started fishing in the Indian Ocean again and still caught some things, but then we started noticing we were catching a lot smaller fish. Like you catch mahi that are like this big.
And really skinny.
Skinny too, hungry fish, or tuna that are this big. And the same thing in the Atlantic this past year. We really saw, we had the lure out for the first passage for 5 or 6 days or something.
In exactly the same way, we
changed lures. We know, what conditions are right for each lure, and didn't even get a bite. And as far as diving, we've definitely seen it's hard to see bigger fish while diving, especially if you're near places where they're using nets.
But the other thing to keep in mind is if you go to a protected area that's been protected for 20 or 25 years, you can see the difference.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the Philippines, they just were taking these big nets and just dragging them across the bottom. They take 2 boats, they put them a kilometer apart, and they just drag a net and just take everything. So then you go diving and you see a lot of dead coral, bottom, no fish. But then you go to an area that's been preserved where they're not allowed to do that, and it's a remarkable difference. So, it can recover. It just needs to be like left alone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The parks that we've gone to for the protected areas in Brazil were so beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
They were really well, very, very strongly protected, and there's just such a difference when you dive in a place like that. And we've been seeing a lot of bleached coral too, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But then also we go to some spots like in Tobago, and the coral
It's
is
fantastic.
so
It's
healthy and it's
incredible.
thriving, and
But no
So-
big fish.
yeah,
Still no big
that
fish.
we saw. So yeah,
I mean, there's still fish out there. There's just less of them and they're smaller.
Yeah.
I think.
let's see.
This is a good one. If you want to recommend a good book here, Ro.
How did you learn to fix those? So this is from Salvitore. How did you learn to fix the problems with the diesel motor? Did you read a book, and do you recommend one? Yeah, there's some really awesome books by Nigel Calder, so Nigelcalder, and he has books on just about every mechanical system on a boat, like one dedicated diesel engines, one about electronics, charging systems, alternators, everything. In fact, if you go to the website, svdelos.com, or just go to Google and search SV Delos required reading, there's a web page that will pop up, and it has like all the cool books that we love, like thought books, books on... hey, Dad. Dad's over here watching YouTube videos.
SC Delos tribal meeting.
Anyway, if you type in SV Delos
you're
required reading, and you can pop up the book list.
Nigel Calder does some great
Yeah,
stuff.
they're all in there.
Yeah.
This is a good one. Josh Crawford, do you guys maintain any subscription services for entertainment? Netflix, Apple Music, Spotify, Hulu, Amazon Prime. Not
We
We
download
don't really-
most of our stuff.
Yeah,
Or-
like because we have such limited internet, and the internet that we use, we pretty much use almost all of it uploading the videos. We tend not to watch a lot of streaming stuff unless it's like a really sort of special occasion. So here in the U.S., like we're watching Netflix and everything. It's all pretty new to us. But most of the time out sailing, we just have hard drives, and every time we meet up with another cruiser, we give them our drive, they give us theirs, and we do like a movie and series swap.
That's
That's-
Spotify for sure, and I download
Yeah.
the playlists, and then you can listen to them offline, which is
Yep.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
podcasts.
For podcasts, you can
Podcasts as well.
save them offline too.
But most of the time, I'd say internet is too precious for us to stream.
Yeah.
But if we're at a yacht club or something, we'll go on like our podcast app and like download all of our podcasts,
Right.
and then we're set for like the next passage.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. With maintenance in mind, this is from Brian Nolan, is a complete refit in the future for Delos? Wow, I think we've pretty much replaced all the
Yeah.
most of the systems. The
Except
next,
for the main.
the generator's been done, all the pumps, and even I went through last year and I replaced every hose clamp on the boat, which was a fun project. The rigging's been done, new sails. The thing that'll be done next will be the engine. The Volvo has over 7,000 hours on her now, and she's still running great, but I think that's quite a bit of use on that motor, and I've heard that around 6,000 to 7,000 hours is when they start to develop bigger problems. So we'll see about that.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, but
Keep pumping.
it's like as far as taking Delos in and doing a complete refit. I don't know. I think I would prefer to live aboard and keep on replacing systems as like sort of doing it one piece at a time.
Mhm.
Paul C., what happened to Brady's Green Man suit?
Split down the back.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you heard my dad. When we were in Grenada this past St. Patrick's Day, I brought her out of the closet, and she'd been away for a while, the old Green Man suit. And we got in a van, and we were driving around the island, drinking and stopping at every rum shop. Not us, there was a driver, of course, driving us around. And I put the Green Man suit on, and I hopped out of the van, and I did some kind of stretch, and the whole back ripped open, so it tear all the way down the back, all the way down the bottom of the ass.
We filmed it, don't worry.
Yeah. So too many churrascos in Brazil
Yeah,
for Senior
Brazil.
Brady.
Caipirinhas and churrascos. I think I put on a bit too much back weight, and it ripped it open. But we just got a new sail right sewing machine on board, and we're
Yeah.
gonna fix it up. and I see some green man in our future.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about from Ahmad asked, can you recommend a couple good sailing books
Ooh.
to improve
Those are the same
sailing
ones
skills
for that,
for a newbie?
I think the cool ones to look into would be weather forecasting.
Mhm.
So there's definitely a book called Man versus Weather, which I think is a pretty cool book. I think that one's on the required reading list as well. They're not really popping into my head right now, but if you go to that required reading list on the website, there's a bunch of cool books. Of course, all the adventure classic books from like Moutissier and stuff are on there. Dove is an awesome book.
Yeah, there's a
Rig
lot on
tuning,
that
sail
reading
trims.
list.
Yeah, that's probably the best place to go.
What was the issue with the autopilot from Perry?
Okay. So
Who has edited that?
yeah, you can tell. What was the issue with the
What
autopilot?
was the issue? Who's edited that actually? So it was the, what do you call it again? Shit, I'm the worst.
It was actually the rudder
Indicator.
indication
Yes.
sensor.
Indication sensor.
So the autopilot had no idea where the rudder was.
Yeah.
So like the rudder would turn, and because that sensor, the potentiometer had just basically locked up, and so
The autopilot would freak out.
the computer had no idea. So it would just think that okay, I'm telling the rudder to turn, but it's not turning, and so it would just constantly go like this, which would make Delos
So
constantly
if it was
go
a
like
different
this.
problem, we have like two autopilots. We could have used the backup because it was this indicator, it kind of like screwed
It
both
was
of them
a
at the same time.
$200 fix. So
Yeah.
not too bad. She's
But-
fixed now.
The hand steering was, I would say, one of the best things that could have happened.
Yeah,
So
it was awesome.
in the bad,
Yeah.
it was still a really good thing for all of us, I think.
All right. Let's see. Do you guys want to pick something there?
Marine Dog. Is there anything?
Hi, Maureen.
Oh, hey, Marine. Good to see you.
Marine joined us on the sail to Grenada.
Yeah. Is there anything in particular that Delos does not have that you want to make sure Delos 2.0 does have?
Ooh, my big one is a staysail. I want a baby stay or a staysail to be able to have up some forward sail and high wind without having to reef the jib like so
Staysail
much.
for sure. I think some sort of room, workshop kind of room with a table and a vise, and like you're actually able to stand and work on
Yeah.
something would be
Mhm.
really, really cool.
Built-in kombucha brewing.
Yeah,
tank.
Yeah.
built-in kombucha
Built-in-
brewing
That's
tank,
important.
Yeah,
built-in distillation tank
yeah.
A deep
There's-
fryer.
A deep
Yeah.
deep fryer for that healthy, balanced lifestyle.
We're gonna get an
Deep
air
fryer's a
fryer.
thing.
Now that we
Oh,
have
air fryer.
now that we have
sorry,
the new
air
system,
fryer.
we can get a oven with a.
Well, there was a question
Yeah.
earlier. What about the ovens?
What about the oven?
Oh.
We should tell them. Really
So we
quick.
don't know yet. We're looking at basically a toaster oven. It's not really a toaster oven anymore, but it's a small convection oven, and it has it's about it's maybe the same size as a microwave.
French.
Takes about 15 to 1800 watts, which is about the same as the induction cooktop. Can act as a toaster and oven.
You can make bread in it. You can do everything.
Yeah.
Like cold chickens, you've seen the ones we looked at.
and it has an air fry feature.
Well, then we don't sorted.
Yeah, we'll have to get a gym and our treadmill along with our deep fryer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's here.
Rob Milligan says, I'd prefer to see Blue Rakaza in the green suit. Yeah, me too.
All right, Rob.
Definitely.
Can be organized.
It was great meeting you guys yesterday. Yeah, thank you guys for coming out yesterday. Question: would you guys consider Dyneema lines for your standing rigging on Delos 2.0? Hashtag Club Taco.
Where's that from?
I don't really know that much
YouTube channel, Alpha
about
Images.
Dyneema rigging. I really don't know. Do you know anything about
No, I mean I know that the strength is the same as cable versus
that? And
like
there's
size.
no stretch in it.
There's no
and
stretch.
It's lighter. Who was doing that? Didn't we see a boat with that in South Africa?
I don't remember that.
No.
I don't know. I don't know anything about
We're
doing
gonna have to get back to you on that
standing
one.
rigging Dyneema.
But that's definitely
Maybe.
something to think about.
It could be something cool.
Yeah. Let's see.
Ooh, this is a good one. From Mike. Does learning to sail on a small boat have any merit to sailing a 30 plus foot boat. I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, we
100%.
sailed a couple of little boats when we were in Sao Paulo, and then again when we were in Brazil. And for me, I learned a lot actually sailing those little boats because you're controlling everything with your hands. And it's just totally different than being on Delos where you're having multiple people controlling multiple things. It's just like a simpler model to kind of get the basics down, and I think that carries through.
Yeah, and you can really feel every puff of breeze. You can feel the difference when you trim a sail.
Yeah, and you need to
Immediately.
react. Like when something's happening, you need to be the one to like react and make the change to it.
Yeah,
So
so I think dinghy sailing and small boat sailing in
Racing,
general is one of
yeah.
the most fantastic things you can do. Like
To learn to
before
sail.
we left Grenada, we sailed on our friend's J boat. What was it? A J
105.
J105, and that thing is so fun to sail. It's just so different than sailing Delos. You know, you can take the helm and just go, whoosh, and she goes like, whoosh. It's not like driving a big old bus at all, which Delos is like. And you can really feel the difference in trimming and
Weight on the boat.
moving your weight
important.
around.
Cool.
So
Outdoor Images said, ask Andy when you sail about the Dyneema rigging.
okay.
Apparently, the boat we're going on has Dyneema rigging. So.
Oh.
Yes, he
Cool.
said he
That's
switched.
cool.
He switched his. So
Well, that'll be
according
cool
to,
to know
thanks
about.
for letting us know, man. We'll definitely have to
Yeah,
ask
cool.
Andy about that now.
Brett Stone just says boobies with a question mark.
All right.
There you go.
be careful what you wish for.
Dad is not impressed with that. Ever consider a wind vane?
I don't know. We've had this discussion.
Yeah,
and
I
does
don't
it
know.
stop working when you get to a certain size boat?
I don't really know. I've actually never seen one on a boat that's above 40 feet. I don't think.
Vein,
Yeah, wind vane. It's a self-steering vane on the back of
I
the
prefer
back of the boat.
wet finger.
He prefers the wet finger to know where the wind is coming from.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you have to have a special kind of transom that is good for that. Like I've seen it on a lot of boats with flat transoms or canoe type sterns that you can attach it on the back. I'm trying to think of how we would put it onto Delos without pretty much destroying the swim platform back there where we're always climbing up and going swimming from. But
I
Sure,
think
anything's
it
possible.
really becomes, once you get into the bigger boats like that, you have power to run an autopilot, and you can have redundant autopilots, and it's not like a strain on the system.
yeah,
But with smaller boats, the wind vane is quite important because you're limited on
on
space
power
and power and everything.
Yeah.
So I think that's why you don't see them on big boats. It's just not.
And I think one of the things to keep in mind is, our autopilot has broken a few times, but I mean, that unit is 18 years old and it has, counting the miles we've put on it and the previous owner, probably close to 100,000 miles at sea. So, I mean, anything will wear out under those sort of conditions.
Yeah, this is a good one here. Karen, do you want to answer this one from Terry McDonald?
Sure.
Off the top of your heads, what are some good traits to bring as new crew to a boat?
Ooh, a positive attitude.
Ooh, that's number one. Positive attitude.
And what else? I don't know, just a willingness to learn, I think. And that's about it. That's all you need. I mean, if you want to learn and if you are with good people, you're going to have a good time and you're going to learn a lot.
Yeah.
Can you think of anything
I
else?
think no
Great.
expectations and maybe
Yeah.
not a time frame kind of mindset. Like
Yeah, that's
things
important.
change a lot while sailing.
Yeah.
Weather changes all the time. You're kind of at the mercy of Mother Nature and adapting to that and making sure that you can work with it instead of trying to fight against it is
Yeah.
really important.
I mean,
Which is
how
kind
many-
of it's an attitude
yeah.
though, right? It's,
How many times have we like, oh, we're going to be there in a few hours and it takes us like 3 days? No, not really, but like,
yeah.
it's can turn
Yeah.
very rough very quickly and then, So.
I don't know. From you, what do you think, bro? If you're saying
I think for me, like I always think about the positivity in people. Like I used to remember, when Bubs joined the boat for the Indian Ocean crossing, and we were having like terrible weather and bad conditions, but somehow Bubs was just like a very positive person, and she'd come up and she'd smile, and even though things were like quite shitty, she would just make me feel a little bit better about where I was.
Yeah.
So we called her Bubbles and Bubsikins and all sorts of things, but
She was a happy. Yeah, definitely.
she was awesome.
She is a happy girl.
And then, you always think about if you're a good crew, you always want to do your job and then try and do a little bit more to make it easier on everybody else. So, if you can find somebody that is not going to shy away from work and let them know that, hey, this is not a paid luxury charter. You're a crew. You're going to do night watch. You're going to cook. You're going to clean just like everybody else. And then setting those expectations up beforehand so that people know the situation they're getting into, instead of like going at the other side of it and getting upset with somebody for not doing something that they didn't really know was expected of them in the first place. So that's why we kind of define we have a defined cooking schedule. Like there's no question about if it's your day or to cook or not, because there's a schedule and today is your day and you have to cook. There's no other choice. Same thing with cleaning. We have a cleaning schedule and the duties alternates, week by week.
Watch schedule.
We have a watch schedule.
It's nice.
So I think removing that ambiguity really helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think too, in relation to maybe Delos, and maybe this is like a specific Delos crew thing, not for everyone, but just because we have the project going and each person brings something so different to the project, because the way they look at the world is different and they have different things that inspire them, whether it's different mediums of art or different things they want to focus on or anything like that. And so I'm really excited to see who joins in the future and what they're going to add in that way and what we can learn from them, because everyone learns from
aside from like the sailing crew way, but like the video aspect way. And
and everyone has their own thing, so it's really
Absolutely.
cool. It's exciting. I think that part's exciting to think about for future crew.
Yeah,
Definitely.
for sure.
What you got for us next, bro?
Forget about, this is from Colin Murphy. He says, forget about all that other stuff. What happened to the still? Did I miss something?
I had a couple people asking that last night too.
too. So I
Yeah.
guess we haven't been showing
I think
using the still very much.
I think so many people have been giving us alcohol, like bottles of alcohol lately, like just coming up to Delos in the Caribbean and like
I
dropping
also
off
think
bottles
that
and stuff.
we're still using it, but we don't really show it that much.
Yeah.
Because I think that we've
showed it so
somehow
many
we think
times.
that we've filmed it or we've shown it. So we think, oh, well, maybe we'll just make alcohol today, because I can remember, we just ran it in Grenada, right? And I didn't even bother to film it. I just made whiskey because I wanted to.
And actually, I was editing footage today, and it was when we were in Brazil, and we were using it, but we're so drunk in the footage. It's like
It's not usable.
it's a little brutal to think about using. So maybe that's why some of that footage doesn't make it in as well. Like that tends up to be a little bit of a messy.
The still is still around. We're still
Yeah.
still in.
Yeah. And I think we're going to be able to run the still off the inverter and the batteries.
Yeah,
That's
that's
crazy.
cool.
Because it's 800 watts
Yeah.
element. And I did the power calculation.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
along that same lines, I'm going to be working on a video really soon about power on boats, because I think it's a fascinating subject. So stay tuned for that.
What the hell is a watt?
What the hell is an amp hour?
Yeah, we actually shot it already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Water.
What else do we got here?
Mateus? Comella? What additional toys would you add to Delos 2.0 with the additional space?
It's a very long list.
I think it's exciting because Delos 2.0, because we're gaining space or length and width, we're not necessarily going to extend a lot of the living space. It will be bigger and there will be more cabins, but a lot of that space will be reserved for the four-peak workshop and maybe a garage or something in the back, where definitely a lot of dive gear, a new compressor.
Yep. I want a sailing dinghy.
yeah.
I want to be able to have a sailing dinghy,
Yeah.
like a
That'd be
little
so
mast,
fun.
or even a
There's some really cool inflatable ones.
catamaran or something like that.
That'd be super
I think that would be
Picture
cool.
rig Maggie.
Kiteboard.
Yeah, we're trying to get into kiteboarding
Yeah.
again.
Maybe a kiteboard.
She riggable? Is Maggie riggable?
No.
Maggie would not be a good sailing dinghy, I don't think. We've always talked about having a little kind of motorcycle or something. I don't know about that though.
Here's one from Kim. Did your dad give you all the gifted bottles of booze he walked out with last night? Love your dad. He is great.
Who's that?
Actually. What are you drinking there, Dad?
Who's that from?
That's from Kim.
Kim Leon.
Kim Leon. He's
Oh,
actually
yeah.
enjoying. What do you have there? A little Johnny Walker Blue Label and that.
Johnny Walker Blue from Vinny Yo
just so you guys, if you're
Vinny
wondering
Yo
what
from-
we're talking about,
from the Palms.
we had a little drink session with some Delos tribe members in Fort Lauderdale last night, and there was a good amount of people, like over 100
That's
people
awesome.
that showed up and were mingling around throughout the night, and it was also our dad's birthday,
So he made out like crazy. Like everyone brought him bottles of liquor. And
Yeah, did good.
he did real good. But thank you for everyone who came out last night. It was a
Yeah,
really,
it was
really good
so
time.
Cool. So cool.
Yeah, a lot of
This
good.
is a good question. Greg Guthman, any concerns of Patreon capsizing like it almost did with the change in the model they tried? Yeah, that's
Yeah, always.
man. We spent a lot of time thinking about that because if you
Yeah.
think about like what we're doing with this project and trying to share this lifestyle and everything, we're really dependent on YouTube, and they've been changing a lot of things. In fact, the YouTube model is. I mean, there's a lot of complaints about the changes that they've been making. We've noticed
Algorithms and
the revenue from YouTube go down by about 50%, almost 60%, and we've talked to some other people, and we're not the only ones. So, to have all your eggs in one basket like that is a little bit scary. So we're trying to think about where else would people be able to watch the videos, and coming up with some ideas around that. We're thinking about also posting them. We'll never probably stop putting them on YouTube, but also things like other streaming platforms. Like I just found out about this Roku box now that we're back in the land of
a lot of people
technology.
know about Roku.
And I feel a little bit naive for not knowing that these things existed, but we could perhaps create a channel on Roku and then give people a better kind of smart TV big viewing experience, because we really try and put a lot of effort into our videos and make them like a sort of a documentary length, maybe like 20 to 30 minutes or something like that, and then good quality that looks cool on the
They're
screen.
definitely best enjoyed on a TV, not on a phone, I'd say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
better on a TV than a phone. I think another thing that we're thinking about is, what happens if Patreon goes away? I mean, we depend on the income from and the support from Patreon more than anything else. And that change that they made in December with the fees, which luckily they reversed, it angered a lot of people. I mean, we got a lot of messages from people. So we've actually kind of started thinking about if there's another platform that we could use or build our own or something like that to sort of spread the eggs amongst many baskets. So if one of them crashes, then we're not really like out of luck.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a consideration for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Working on it.
This one is from Josh Adventure, and he says, is there any new filming devices or techniques coming down the pipe? Is there behind the scenes episode in how y'all film? We do have some new gear. We have the new GoPro 360 camera.
Oh yeah,
Fusion?
The Fusion, which is crazy the way that you can edit and post. You can take a 360 video and basically use keyframes to edit it in Premiere essentially. So that's going to be fun to mess with. I think doing more 360 videos is fun to mess with as well. And also, Brian mentioned it earlier, I think, but we've been filming some slow TV stuff, kind of just sailing and sunsets and putting a 360 camera down like below Delos at a cool dive site and letting it sit there for a while.
Or like a beach sunset
Mhm.
sort of thing,
Mhm.
360 view for
And kind of
an hour or
making
something.
a channel of sorts that you could turn on at any point and just watch and listen to something nice.
Put it on in the background or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think too, it would be really fun to do behind the scenes episodes and more stuff like that. But we just have to get a little bit more caught up in all the other videos. But that's in the plan. So once we're caught up a bit more, like we plan to be, I think there's going to be a lot more room to be creative with that kind of stuff. And I know that's something we're all really
So what do you
excited
mean
about.
getting caught up, Alex? Tell me about this.
Considering a video takes 40 hours of work.
I
Yeah.
like the time lapse.
You like it?
That's my favorite.
I like the time
Dad
lapse.
likes the time lapse.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, I
to
guess.
show. I mean, and people love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
To be able to have 6 or 8 hours of time lapse in a minute's time, it's an incredible
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
really cool.
opportunity to show what you guys
It's cool.
visualize over a long period of time in a short period of time.
I like it.
I think
More time lapses in our future.
Yes.
More time lapses. Maybe not sped up.
So yeah, video caught up situation. What does that mean?
Well, we've been talking about that a bit because we're spending so much time on the videos. I feel like sometimes we don't get to get out and get in the water and sail as much as we'd like to, and that's what we want to focus on. So I think just making the videos a little bit more, we're talking about making them a little bit more theme-based, and just having the videos being released be closer to the date that we're actually shooting them, so that we stay more inspired editing them, and we're more real-time releasing episodes on YouTube like we are on Instagram and Facebook. So that's something we
It'll
all...
never be real.
No, it's never going to be current.
Maybe a month or
We'd have to
two
change.
behind.
We'd have to change everything. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, but we are working on that.
I tell you, when we get back from our trip to Svalbard, and then when we get back to
Delos.
Grenada, we're going to be pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean, because we're cranking out videos now. We have unlimited electricity and good internet, and so we're able to spend a lot of time like uploading and editing more than we normally would while sailing.
And Donna's doing the cooking, so
That's
you don't
right.
have to worry about that.
Here's a good one. Dan Ritz. I don't see how you could ever stop doing what you're doing. Going back to a normal life would seem impossible to handle. Chasing bubbles comes to mind here. I know this has been asked before, but do you see yourselves ever stopping? There's no reason you can't go around the world twice.
Good question.
Yeah, that's... I don't think I could ever go back to like a normal life. I think this sort of sailing life is kind of like in my blood now, and I mean maybe we might eventually go towards more seasonal things, like where we don't sail for 1 year or 1.5 years. I know we've talked about this before.
We've talked about it for years.
Maybe sailing for 6 months and then taking 3 months off and then going back and sailing for 6 months. Something like that, but in the future, I think if we ever get tired of making like normal episodes, we can evolve the project how we want, and you can do actual, real feature-length documentaries that show the world sort of as it is, and
there's a lot of
opportunities
to be told,
a lot of stories to be
and
told.
I don't think we'll ever stop filming and sailing. If that's the basic answer.
Yeah. On that note, Dave Simmons says, it would be great if Delos could do a story on the Virgin Islands rebuilding after the hurricanes that have devastated the cruising industry as well.
Yeah.
And I know that's something, going through the Caribbean this year is going to be crazy and really sad.
Different.
And I don't know, just scary to see how affected everything was. And I know that there's a lot of ways that we can help in whatever way we can, whether it's telling a story or, we have some ideas on how we can contribute to everything that happened there. So,
and the first place we'll see is Dominica.
Yeah.
I think that was really hit hard. So we'll see that right when we get back.
Yeah. So we'll definitely be documenting all of that stuff.
Dominica. Yeah, I think that was really.
Dad,
turn your
He's
phone
listening.
off.
You can watch us live. You don't need to stream it on your phone.
I just wanted to show you guys what you look
We
like.
can see ourselves right there.
Ooh, what
Drink
about...
your scotch, Dad.
So we need tribal stickers. Aren't there stickers out there?
There are.
Okay.
So Ken Randall, thank you for asking about tribal stickers. The stickers are up for sale. sddelos.com/gear. We're actually selling them in sticker packs. So you get, I don't know if you can see the back of the computer here. Here's some of the trial ones. But you get a set of 4 stickers. And they're really good quality. They last in the sun. They're waterproof. And they're available now online.
And we're also working, Mike asked, what about new gear? Will you guys have long sleeve shirts added to the shop? We are working on some new stuff like that, so stand by.
What about the one about One Talks? I've seen that one.
Who found One Talks? It sets the mood for all your videos.
Thank you for asking that, William. William Gross. Senior Gross. Cool. One Talks, man. That was back in 2010 when we were sailing through the Pacific. We were in Vanuatu and the Solomons, and all of the music there is very, I don't know, it's reggae with like a South Pacific kind of island vibe, Malaysian island vibe, so it's like music nowhere else in the world. And the people of Vanuatu and the Solomon Islands speak a language, or their common language is like a Pidgin English, and it's called One Talks, right? So this band is basically a Malaysian band that travels around Solomon Islands and Vanuatu, and we had heard their songs playing while we were there, and we happened to come across Rumakanji there was another band playing this song live at like a random hut somewhere, and we just got hooked on the song and started listening to it all the time. And when we started editing videos in Australia, that song just brought back so many good memories of our time there. So we just put it in. I don't know, the first video that had it as the intro was...
Wow, some.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't even
I
remember.
don't
It
know.
was a long time ago.
It was a while ago, but that once we started using that song, that was it. There was no turning back. So
Yeah, it's a
it's
great
definitely
tune.
huge.
I love
Every
it.
time I hear it, I get a smile on my face after
Yeah.
thousands of times.
When
listening to it.
when Brady left Delos to go make money by sailing around on super yachts, they actually went back to Vanuatu, and one of the
Yeah.
things he did was he tracked down the record label in Papua New Guinea somehow and got guys to actually sign a release that allows us to legally use the song,
Yeah.
which is really good.
So we are legally allowed to use the song because whoever owns the rights to that song signed it somehow in a knock-em-all somewhere in a hut in the jungle.
Yeah,
I don't know how it worked out, but it worked out.
Which one are we going for here?
Let's see. Got a bunch here. What are the future plans for cruising? Fred Budgeon. Is the Mediterranean on the cruising list? The near future, or heading back to the Pacific? And I think somebody else asked if we are going back to the Pacific via like the Panama Canal or something.
Yep.
And I don't know, when I start thinking about that, Karen never got a chance to see a lot of the
Yeah.
South Pacific as she joined in New Zealand. So I know it's really someplace that we want to go, and we've really talked about going instead of through the canal, maybe going back to Brazil and then going to Argentina and then heading around the Cape and then exploring Patagonia.
Really want to go to Patagonia and the South Pacific.
Yeah, so that would be my vote.
Me too.
Yeah. Well, okay. Is
Put
that
your
our plan?
vote.
Can we do this?
It's funny because when people ask what's the next destination, we always just say Japan.
Japan.
You're going through the canal? No, we're probably just going to go the long way around.
The longest route possible.
Yeah, down south. We get to see Brazil again, Patagonia, Easter Island, South Pacific.
Yeah.
That area.
I think that's in the plan. That's
Yeah.
the game.
That's going to be Delos 2.0's maiden voyage.
I like it.
I like it. Take it.
Done. All right, that's the
Done.
answer. We did it.
Sorted. When, let's see, Joey Delap or Tim T, will we see footage of Brady's haircut?
Yes.
Where'd the man bun go?
Yeah.
What was it called? The douche roll or something?
Douche
like
roll.
Douche roll.
What is that?
that? Douche
What?
bun?
There's a douche knot.
Actually,
Douche knot.
Brady's hair has been short for the last 6 months or so.
Yeah, you'll see it. We cut it slowly.
Let's see. Joey Delap, when making your passages, what is the ideal crew size? And what kind of work, sail, rest schedule do you use, if any? Wow, I think 4 is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It's plenty of people. You get plenty of sleep, plenty of rest. That's still quite a lot of crew for a boat, I think. I mean,
I
you can
think even
certainly
when we have
sail.
been 3 people on passages,
Yeah,
it's
that's
been
okay.
I mean, Delos is a pretty, in a way, easy boat like that you can handle the sails, do trims and stuff by yourself. If the conditions aren't too hectic, so
We usually do 2 hours on
yeah.
all through the night, 2 hours on, and then however many hours off, depending on the amount of crew. And then during the day, we'll have, just to stagger it up, we'll have a few longer watches during the day. So like from 12 to 3 and 3 to 6 will be longer watches during the day. So that way you don't have the same watch every time. So
Yeah, like
kind
when we're 4 people, it's
Yeah.
nice to rotate,
It
so
rotates
everybody
around.
gets the sunset and sunrise.
yeah.
But I think we get pretty good rest.
Yeah, definitely. 4 or 5 is perfect.
Yeah.
Oba T, the heck with the Panama Canal, do the Northwest Passage. Open water up there, I've heard. Yeah, that's another option too, right?
Yeah,
In fact, it would be cool to do a circumnavigation of the Americas and go around down south and then back up north and then come do east to, or west to east through the Northwest Passage.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That would be perfect.
And then we get to see Japan too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, done.
Okay.
This is a question that is kind of relevant to right now from Oh Brother. Do you guys set aside days where you don't have any camera in your faces? I hope so. And we have lately.
When we're off the boat, yeah.
Which has been a nice little break. But we don't really necessarily set aside days. I think on Delos, if you feel inspired to pick up a camera, then pick up a camera, and if you don't feel like it that day, then you don't do it, and that's a good way to not get burned out on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it also depends a lot on what we're doing. Like if we're in somewhere new where everything's very new to us, then we're automatically excited, and so we tend to like film
Inspired
and
to
capture
film it.
a lot, right?
Yeah.
But I did notice that since we were in Grenada for about a month before we left, we filmed when we first got there. It was very exciting, it was very new, and then when we stay in the same area for a long time, it sort of tapers off, right? So then we didn't film as much because we just don't feel like it, or we've already felt like we've captured it or something. So
Yeah.
I guess that's one of the benefits of moving very slowly for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Somebody wants to know what's up with Lisa. Where's Lisa? We're up to speed on what's happening. This is Rob. Milligan, we're up to speed on what's happening with Elizabeth, but what about Lisa? Oh, yeah, what's Lisa up to?
Lisa is she's still editing videos. She's home in Austria now, right? And she's editing videos. We're talking to her a lot, and we're actually going to meet up with her in Stockholm in about 3 weeks?
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks, so
Yeah.
really soon. And then she's
Fun.
going sailing again too on another boat in the Med for a little bit, or like in Europe. So she's doing really well. It's awesome.
Lisa.
Living in
Lisa,
Austria,
Lisa.
living on land.
I miss her.
Yeah, we're gonna see her soon.
Yeah, very
And Liz is doing really well.
Yeah, I think Liz flies to her new boat in like a week or less than a week or something like that.
So you can follow Liz on Earl Wrights is the name of her channel.
That'd be a good episode. What happened to the previous Delos
They're
visitors?
everywhere.
I mean, we got
There's
what,
like 50
12 to
something.
14
Yeah.
close ones.
Is Kaza a nurse, physical and mental? Are you a nurse, Kaza?
Nurse. Not that I know of. No.
You're a jerk.
I think Brian is better with crazy accidents and stuff than I am.
The Kaz is good. If someone's not feeling good, you usually know the.
Yeah, I can
The
take
remedy.
care of people pretty well, but yeah, I wouldn't say nurse.
Yeah.
Maybe. I wouldn't stretch it that far.
So, Quan Tumac says, question, does the captain get the last word? Depends.
It depends.
Not always. I think I guess there has to be somebody in charge, right? There has to be somebody that will take responsibility for good and both bad actions, and that's kind of the way it has to be on a boat. But we do sort of tend to make group decisions. Like, we like to talk about where we want to sail and not just have somebody stamp their foot down and saying, we're going here right now because I want to. And, we discuss the weather and make sure everybody's okay with the conditions. And because that just makes for like a happier crew, which makes for a happier everything.
Yeah, if everyone has responsibility, it's really important because you're invested in it.
Yeah.
So if there's one person making all the decisions and doing everything, you're kind of just along for the ride, and I don't think that would work in our case at all.
No.
I think too, compared to other boats that we've met, like, I mean, I've never seen another captain that everybody cooks and everybody cleans on the boat, and I think that for crew like morality and like feeling like everyone's pitching in and doing fair things and things are even like that, it's really cool to do it that way.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect it to be like that before I came on Delos. Like, I thought I was going to come on and cook and everything. It's like the newbie.
You in the kitchen, girl!
So, he's a nice captain.
This is a good one from Justin. Thank you. It says, okay, I have a couple of questions. I've noticed Brian and others that learn languages as well. How do you learn new languages and seemingly so quickly? If I remember correctly, we've seen you learning new languages. Do you use an application? And then he asks, how much video storage do we have? So what about the languages, Blue?
I mean, I think that with languages, of course, the best way to learn them is actually being somewhere and having to use them. When we were in Brazil, I think we speak a little bit of Spanish, which was a really, really good base to start with, because if we didn't have that, it would have been a lot harder, and then you kind of build from there. But if we're around people that speak English, then we just start speaking English with them, even if they're Brazilian or anything like that. And then when you go to certain parts of the country and you have to spend a whole day or a whole week trying to communicate with someone in another language, that's really when you're learning.
That's when you learn fast.
Yeah.
Submersion.
Mm-hmm. But just taking the time too. I mean, we all took time to study Portuguese, and I try and study Spanish, but it all takes time, and everyone kind of has their own way of doing it. I know Brian likes listening to Portuguese podcasts, that works really well for you.
The Pimsleur lessons.
The Pimsleur lessons. And for me, I have to read a word and write it down for it to work in my brain. So everyone just has different ways of...
I've also been using the Babbel app, because that works on the phone and the iPad and stuff.
Yeah.
And then that you can listen and you can write and stuff.
Check out Earworms. Earworms are great.
Earworms is
likes
another good one.
Earworms. I like Duolingo.
What are you doing back there? And I think that's Dad giving us the
Dinner's ready.
The dinner's ready signal. So thanks for your time, guys.
Thanks,
If
Thank you
there's
so much.
something we didn't get to that you really want to hear about, just go ahead and shoot us a message, and we'll see what we can do to answer it for you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you,
We
guys.
love you. And
Yeah.
one of the things would be cool to do more often. Q&A sessions more often,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
We should.
So if you guys think that would be a cool idea, or you'd be interested in that, it would be nice to do it maybe topic based. So if there's any
that's
topics
cool.
that you'd like to cover, we could have one day where we talk just about filming and cameras, one
Yeah.
day where we talk about boat maintenance, money, and that
That's
sort of
great.
thing.
Yeah.
That's
Instead
a
of
really
all
good
in
idea.
one, we'll
So
have theme
if you
based.
think that would be cool,
Yeah.
let us know. And thanks for your support, everybody. And we love you, and we'll see you soon.
Bye guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much.
Love you.
This guy.
What did you spill, Michael?
What did you spill, Dad?
Water. I guess that was
Uh-huh.
the water that you put on the floor.
Okay, bye.